I get those goosebumps every time. I need the Heimlich, throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you...
Greetings, technicians. This is Admin Crow here, your coach of the Toronto Star Raptors, bringing you another battle in the PCL, the Pokemon Champions League. This week we'll be taking on Whitelotus, the coach of the Columbus Croagunks. He's indeed one of the undefeated teams in the generation section, so it's a very tough matchup for us up ahead. If you want to see what mons I brought and what type of sets that I have storing for him, I'll leave a link to my team builder in the description down below. So in this video, I'm just going to be going over my turn-to-turn thought process and how I plan out to execute the match overall. So over here, right at team preview, I see no good way of hazard control. The Galvantula is expected to come, and it's actually very similar to one of the team that I fought against Lo-Fi, I believe. He did help me prepare for this week's battle by doing some mocks with me, so shout out to him once again. And on top of that, I see no Mega Altaria and no Claydol. Claydol can be problematic to my team. I mentioned that in my team builder. Again, you guys can check it out if you are interested. So I'm just gonna go with my initial plan here to lead with my Scarf Victini, as it does match up well against the Greninja if it's not scarfed. The Jirachi, I can just go for a blue flare, and if he leads with Galvantula, I can just go for a U-turn and find out if that thing is scarfed turn 1. And it's very unlikely for him to stay in with the Galvantula if it's a Focus Sash lead. So let's just hop right into the battle, shall we? So turn 1 here, as I lead with my Victini, he does lead with his Jirachi. I'm just gonna go for the obvious play to see if this Jirachi is scarfed or not. So I believe over here on turn 1 I do go for the blue flare as he goes into the Azu. So okay, over here it's very interesting, right? So the way he switched into the that Azu, I didn't do any calcs or anything, but it's very defensive, or more of a defensive set, just from the leftover itself, right? So I was thinking to myself, if he does go for Azu, just I should go into my fortress to scout out for the potential Whirlpool, right? Because if I go to my Toxapex right here and he goes for the Whirlpool, I'll lose my Toxapex, mainly because it's probably going to be a Perish Trap set. So I was thinking to myself, right? And I don't know, for the devil of me, or I don't know what happened. It was a misclick or something. I just have this weird thought that came across my mind, and I just clicked Toxapex. And as you can see over here, he actually does go for the Whirlpool. So my Toxapex Wintel Jr. is trapped on his very first battle for the Raptors. So you guys probably already know what's going to happen in the next few turns here, as he does go for the Perish Song. I'm just going to admit the fact that, I don't know, I misplayed or misclicked. I don't know, one of the two. Anyways, I'm just trying to do something before my Toxapex goes down here and find out he's set, as he does reveal the Protect after the Perish Song. But I do get up 2 layers of Toxic Spikes, which is really good against his team. It's as most of his mon, I guess all of them are grounded, except for the Jirachi, obviously being a Steel type, won't get affected by the Toxic Spikes. As he's just gonna go for another Whirlpool, and I go for another Scald. Just there's not really much I can do here. He's gonna be switching out the following turn into his Jirachi, as that's the only mon that I guess won't get affected by the Toxapex, aside from the Shaman, I guess, because it does have the natural cure ability. So on the following turn, I'm just gonna go for another Scald. But unfortunately, I do not get a burn right here, as my Toxapex goes down. So the way he switched into that Jirachi makes me think that it might be a more special offensive variant, which I do think have a decent matchup against me. Just a special attacking Jirachi with Fire Punch to handle the Fortress. So I'm gonna lose my Toxapex right away, actually, as I go into my Victini, expecting a switch as I go for the U-turn. He actually stayed in this time, expecting a U-turn probably. I do go into my fortress to scout out what this Jirachi wants to do, as I don't want to take a potential Thunder Wave with my Victini. So he's gonna actually go for the slow U-turn. Really good play on Lotus' part, as he does get the momentum. I was expecting the Azu to come in actually. This is my dedicated Azu switch in. If it's not a setup variant, it's mainly to handle the Whirlpool set, as I can just abuse the Whirlpool by setting up 3 layers of spikes in the next 3 turns. This is actually one of the exact scenarios that I had in my mock, where I am in with my Aegis, the Fortress, against a Paris trapping Azumarill. As he does reveal, he revealed the Protect early on, so I was kind of worried over here a little bit, because I am packing the Volt Switch. But if he Protect on the turn that I go for Volt Switch, I might be in a little bit of trouble. But because he went for Whirlpool first before the Paris Song, I actually have enough turns to get up all 3 layers of spikes, as I do go for right here, as he goes for the Rest. Rest with Paris Trap is actually one of the sets that I suggested Lo-Fi to bring against me, because initially when he brought Paris Trap against me, he didn't have Rest. So that's actually really interesting over there. So on the following turn, as I get up my last layer of spikes, he's just gonna be sleeping over here as I bust out the Volt Switch. It feels good, man. All my hazards are up, and I'm just getting out of there with a Volt Switch. As he'll be forced to switch the following turn as the Paris Song is about to end. He does burn 1 turn of sleep here because of my Volt Switch. I get the offensive momentum into Victini once again. So over here, I believe I do go for the Thunderbolt because I want to do a lot of damage to whatever comes in. Even the, I guess it's just a safer click overall. Because if he still decide to stay in with his Azumarill, I'm actually going to be trapped with my Victini. So I want to be able to 2-hit KO that if he so decide to stay in. That was the main reason I went for Thunderbolt, as I am choice locked, so I won't be able to U-turn out if he stay in and go for another Whirlpool. As he goes for, he goes into his Shaman expecting some sort of coverage move for the Azu. He does take that T-Bolt very well as he busts out the Z Grass Whistle. I'm like, what? Okay, I'm not sure what he's trying to do here, but that's a very interesting pack for sure. I wasn't expecting that, as I don't have a dedicated switching to the Shaman anymore, as I lost my because I lost my Toxapex. So I'm actually forced to go into my Kurogiri. As you can see, the Z Grass Whistle missed, but he's willing to take that risk of 50%, 55% accuracy move, I think. So over here, I made another offensive double just to see what this Shaman wants to do. He actually go for the C-Bomb. As you can see over here, he's actually physical. I do take that very well with my Incursio, as I do have the HP investment. Okay, over here, because I know it's physical, I have more, I guess, I was more comfortable with staying in. I could have easily gone into my Fortress, as he doesn't do anything anymore against the remaining member of his team. And I believe in one of the mocks Lo-Fi brought Shaman against me, he actually packed the Dazzling Beam for the Hydreigon. Just because I see that it's a physical set, I was more comfortable to stay in with my Hydreigon actually. So over here, he actually went for the return. So for the God of Me, I couldn't figure out why the Shaman was faster, because I didn't see the +1 speed over here. So like, I actually took a really long turn over here, tried to figure out why the Shaman was faster, as I am gonna be able to knock him out with a Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse was overall my better play, even if he goes into the Azu. It hits everything relatively hard. The Azu is asleep anyway, so I can just safely switch out on the following turn. As he goes into Galvantula, that thing's going to be poison and taking spikes damage as he comes in. It's one of the most problematic mon for my team, as I'm just going to go into my Assault Vest Kurogiri to take the Thunder and find out what type of item he's packing. As you can see, he is the Life Orb variant, which is very good for me, because he's going to be taking all that recoil from the Life Orb on top of the poison, I guess toxic poison. So I do take that very relatively well, as he followed it up with Volt Switch. So that's going to be 52% in total with the Thunder and Volt Switch. He does go into his Greninja right here as I go for the knockoff. Knockoff is my best play overall, as I know that he didn't bring his Mega Altaria, and he already used his Z on the Shaman. So it's a very good turn for me over there, as I will be able to knock off the Greninja's Choice Scarf. It's one of the items that I was actually expecting on Greninja. I did mention that in my builder, as I'm just gonna go into my fortress on the following turn. As I mentioned before, it doesn't really do anything against the remaining member of his team, and I still need the Kurogiri, the Kofak, to take on the Galvantula, as he's gonna be able to knock me out with double Dark Pulse. So over here, I'm actually gonna go into my Leone, the Mega Lopunny, on the Greninja, expecting him to switch, so I went for a stop. So I don't know how fast the Greninja is, but because he should always go Arcanine over there, because from the way he's been playing, I think the Arcanine is more likely gonna be having the Intimidate ability over the Flash Fire, as he went for Azu instead of the Arcanine, and he was pretty reluctant to go into the Arcanine I think the second time when I went to Victini, he didn't go into his Arcanine either. So I was more confident that it's gonna be Intimidate to handle the Mega Lopunny. However, though, the fact that he came in on 2 layers of Toxic Spice is already good for me, just because I just need the Toxic Poison on the Arcanine in order to wear it down. That was my initial goal anyways. I am packing the Toxic on the Mega Lopunny. However, it's not going to come into play because the Arcanine is already poisoned. I'm just going to go for a return to do as much damage as possible to this Arcanine as he goes for a Flip Blitz to break my sub. So on the following turn, I'm actually going to go into my Victini, as I know that he outspeeds the remaining member of his team. The Jirachi is packing the Rocky Helmet. The Azu has Leftover and with no Aqua Jet, and Galvantula has Life Orb. Arcanine over here have Leftovers, and whatchamacallit, the Greninja had Choice Scarf, but it was knocked off. So Aura the Victini here is always my play, as I can just take that Flip Blitz very well, and I don't really need health on the Victini in order to have him put in the finance work. So over here is another turn that I took very long to decide, simply because I have to decide whether if I should lock myself into Thunderbolt or a Blue Flare, as it determines basically I'm gonna be able to knock out this Arcanine right here no matter what. However, it decides what mon he will be sending in on the following turn. Both, if I lock myself into Thunderbolt, right, I can handle the Azu and Greninja coming in, but he'll probably go into his Jirachi or Galvantula, no suspecting the Scarf, and both of these mons gives him momentum. The Jirachi revealed before has U-turn, and obviously the Galvantula have Full Switch, which is something I don't want. So I actually go for the Blue Flare over here. Thankfully, I do land and be able to knock out the Arcanine and preventing the Jirachi and Galvantula to come in, as I thought. However, though, because I didn't reveal the fact that I was Scarf, he actually went into his Galvantula. I was like, what is this thing gonna do to me? So I'm just gonna stay in and go for another Blue Flare. Now I reveal the fact that I am Scarfed Victini. As I knock out the Galvantula with another Blue Flare, he does go into Azumarill, which is still sleeping at this point. He's gonna burn his last turn of his sleep as I go into my Kurogiri, the Kofak, as I don't really need it anymore, simply because I got rid of the Galvantula. The Azu is just gonna go for Wake Up and go for the Whirlpool. Okay, this turn is actually very interesting. First of all, I actually don't get trapped by Whirlpool being a Ghost type. Both me and him didn't know that at this point. After he went for the Whirlpool, I was willing to sack my Kofak here anyways, just to get off as much damage as possible on the Azu, so the remaining 3 members of my team can clean up the game. Just to put the Azu in a range of T-Bolt from Victini, so I do go for the Energy Ball. However, over here he does have the Sap Sipper, which is very interesting. First of all, he doesn't have any physical moves to abuse the Sap Sipper ability. Secondly, unfortunately my Grass type is trash. It's Laurentis in T5, so there's literally no reason for him to have, I guess, Sap Sipper over Thick Fat. So it did catch me off guard here for a little bit, but it doesn't really matter at this point. I'm just gonna go follow it up with a leftover as he goes for a Parasol. So I guess from the way he's playing, he doesn't know that I'm not trapped. So I can actually go into one of my other mobs, especially the Hydreigon, to abuse the Azu, I guess, because I can just safely U-turn out or be able to hit KO if I have the right coverage for it, which I don't. That's why I'm just gonna try to sack my Kofak here, playing as if I can't switch out. He's just gonna be using another Whirlpool as I go for 2 Shadow Ball, as it is the move that I can, I guess, hit the Azu with most effectively. So as my Kofak go down, I do go into my Victini, knowing that I can live any hit that the Azu goes for, especially the Whirlpool, which is the only offensive move the Azu has. So yeah, it wasn't poisoned. However, he's forced to stay in because the fact that he doesn't want any of his remaining members to take the potential T-Bolt, as he doesn't know that if the monster will be 2-hit KO by the T-Bolt or not. As I am just gonna go back into my Lopunny on the Jirachi, simply because I know that there is no way he will be going for a psychic move right there, and even if he does, I was willing to sack the Lopunny over here anyways, as he busts out the Healing Wish from Jirachi, which is another move that Lo-Fi brought against me in the mock. So as I am just gonna be able to outspeed the Greninja, which is very interesting over here, simply because I didn't actually EV my Leone, the Mega Lopunny, to outrun a regular Greninja. I only EV'd it to outrun a Greninja that's EV to outrun a Lycanroc Dusk, as I mentioned that in my builder, simply because Lotus is such a competent player. I'm just gonna go for the stub and find out that I'm indeed faster, and he's gonna be able to break myself with the Extra Sensory. As I know the fact that I am faster, I'm just gonna make the safer play and go for another stub as he go for the Dark Pulse, and he actually doesn't break myself simply because it's not super effective. I talked to him. He said that after the game, he was expecting my Lopunny to switch, expecting him to go for the Extra Sensory, but there's no reason for me to switch, simply because even if my Mega Lopunny goes down here, I can revenge kill this with a T-Bolt from my Victini, so there's literally no reason to risk that. So I'm just gonna be able to knock him out with a Dream Punch as he turns into a Dark type with a Dark Pulse on the following turn. So that's gonna be GG to Lotus. It's a very good game for sure, despite my early mistake of going to Toxapex on the Perish Trapping Azu, even though I know that it has a very high chance of coming. So yeah, we're gonna be able to stop the winning streak from the Columbus Croagunks. I'm really satisfied with my execution of the battle this week. I do basically be able to carry out what I had planned for Whitelotus. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm gonna be see you guys in the next one. Goodbye, technicians. Admin Crow here, signing off.